Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. This is the Astrological Forecast for December 6th through 12th of 2020. Now, this is a general forecast, meaning it applies to approximately 8 billion people on this planet. So, if something doesn't fit quite right for you, look up your ascendant, your moon, your Mars, or your Neptune, all of which will be found on your natal chart. If you don't have one, absolutely drop me a line on one of the contact points below, listed below this film, this podcast, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, one of the contact points listed below. I will be happy to look them up for you. Okay? Now, that said, absolutely, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and do not complain about my stumbling over my own words, because I do that a lot. This is what I call a live recording, meaning after this is all over, I do not go back and edit out all the glitches, any of the stumbling. That's just me. If you ever end up meeting me in person, you'll find the same thing. So, that said, let's get on with it, shall we? Now, the first card is an overview. This applies to everybody. And we have the Lover's card. Now, the Lover's card means that you're finding a union between the spiritual world and the material world. So we are this week bringing things into balance. Okay, now this may be a balance in your own personal life. It could be a balance between work and home. Or it may just be a balance between you and other family members. Okay, this is something everybody will be, on the whole, working towards. Now, there are always exceptions. Invariably, there are exceptions to every rule. Okay, first, the one thing to keep in mind is no matter what you choose to do, follow karmic law. Meaning, do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. If you desire to be treated decently, treat people decently. It does not guarantee that they will treat you that way, but it does stack the deck in your favor. Okay, so, Aries, we have the Nine of Swords inverted. This shows, as odd as this is going to likely sound, this shows relief, meaning the tears, the pain, all of that is coming to a close, or a lot of it is anyway. Okay, whatever you've been struggling with, this shows there's a light at the end of the table, at the end of the tunnel, that you're finally able to see. So, stay the course, keep working with people. If you have to talk to somebody in order to get things straight in your own head, absolutely do. Okay, this does not necessarily mean going and seeking a professional. Quite often, a friend is a great way to talk to people, to get things straight in your own head without causing a problem. Okay. Now, Taurus. Taurus, we have the Queen of Swords. This shows control over your own emotions. This does not mean you're emotionless. So for the gentleman out there, it does mean that you will have a little better handling of the way you're feeling, a little better comprehension of the way your partner is feeling. This may also for you indicate that there is either a new relationship coming into the picture or a renewed one. Okay. This does indicate a usually dark-haired, very mentally disciplined woman. Okay. Again, self-control over the emotions. Okay. Now, when we take a look at Gemini, Gemini has the Hanged Man. Now, the Hanged Man indicates for you things are going to slow down a little. You need to put the brakes on. You may well have been moving too quickly in whatever you're working on, trying to get a project finished, feeling pressed for time. This is telling you, take a moment to step back, especially early in the week. Take a step back, organize things on paper. You'll find it works like a charm. Whether it's paper, whether it's on a computer program, in today's world, either one works. Personally, what I found is that if you write it down, it's easier to track than going, oh, I'll just remember it. I've tried the I just remember it thing. It doesn't work well. At least not for me. Now, Cancer, we have the Seven of Cups inverted. This shows that hidden information that you've been fighting with, a course that you've been contemplating, is finally having a break in the barrier. For writers out there, this may well indicate that you've managed to break through that writer's block, and now you can get back to writing, get back to what you're actually aiming for. Okay. Now, Leo. Now, this one is really nice for you. Leos inherently, on the whole, tend to like to step into or tend to be guided into leadership positions. Now, the Six of Wands indicates victory. Okay, indicates very clearly that the project you've been working on, that little goal that you've been fighting with, you may have been fighting it for a very long time. It does show it's finally coming into balance. Okay, which means maybe time for celebration. Don't get carried away. Okay, now Virgo, we have the King of Swords. Now, the King of Swords, again, does bring into balance a much more focused mind on the logical side. Meaning all those little details that you've been working on, all the little things, the little projects that you've been trying to get to. This shows that this week you're going to make headway on getting them dealt with, on getting them put aside. Okay, the hard part from your standpoint is going to be dealing with the concept that you don't have to have everything perfect to get headway. You can always tidy things up. There's an old saying where it comes to artwork. A painting is never finished, or a sculpture is never complete. The artist just stops working on it. Okay, that comes from the fact that you may find you yourself are a bit of a perfectionist. Now, Libra, we have the Seven of Wands, and this shows that you are prepared to do what you have to get back into the position you feel you desire to be in. Now, remember, karmic law. Do not make the mistake of pushing past people in order to get ahead. Working with people will work a whole lot better for you. Okay, if you don't believe me, I can't do much about that, but take a look at what you've been doing. If you've been really fighting with people to get ahead, how's that been working for you? If not, it may be time to look at something a little different. Now, Scorpio. Scorpio, we have the Page of Pentacles. This shows a break in the finances, and I don't mean a breakdown, but it does indicate that there is a little bit of a shift that's putting things in perspective a little bit easier. Okay, now don't forget, the Pentacles also indicates the material world. So if you've been trying to get things organized in your house, okay, or for that matter on the site, at the work site, the Page of Pentacles means that you're finding an inexpensive, not a cheap way, but an inexpensive way to accommodate the goals that you've got and get those projects tied up. Now, when we go to Sagittarius, we have the Two of Swords. Now, the Two of Swords indicates a decision being made. You've got two different roads you can go down that you've been trying to balance out, that you've been trying to figure out which way to go with. The Two of Swords indicates that you've finally made that decision and you're ready to make the next step forward. Now, don't forget, organization is the key. Trying to run it by a wing and a prayer or just on a whim doesn't often work as well as you may like. Okay, now when we go to Capricorn, this shows the Knight of Wands. Now, of course, the Knight of Wands inverted indicates that you may have been pushing yourself too hard. This may be the time to take a step back and put your feet up. Just take a break. This does not mean quit work. It does not mean quit what you're working on. It means, remember, you still need to rest periodically. Okay, but it also indicates that you may have a new partner coming into the equation. In all likelihood, it indicates that partner is more on a business side or on a friendship side than a romantic one. But hey, you never know. You can combine the two. Just be careful how you do it. Okay. Now, Aquarius. Aquarius, we have the Wheel of Fortune. Now, this is really beneficial for you. Okay, because it indicates that the energy is moving in the right pattern, it's staying consistent, and you're making the connections you need in order that you require in order to get ahead where you desire to go. Okay, there is a good reason for this. By staying focused on the end game and not worrying a whole lot about whether, you've got to get rid of the idea that it's not possible. Virtually everything on the planet is, virtually anything is possible. The trick is to recall that not necessarily being possible makes it a good idea. Okay. So it does show that things are turning in your direction. Now, Pisces. Pisces, we have the Queen of Pentacles inverted. Now, in general, Pisces quite often find themselves as a bit of an extremist. Somebody that makes changes happen, and quite often on instinct. The Queen of Pentacles inverted does indicate that at this point, your instincts are working very well. But be careful you do not overextend, because no matter how you do it, especially at this time of year, money does not care how you feel. It doesn't care what you're thinking. So when we talk about following your instincts, this does not translate into going out into a spending spree. But things will work out quite nicely, quite quickly for you. Okay, at least on the path they're on right now, and every indication is that that's where they're heading. Now, the wrap-up card for the day is the Three of Wands. Now, what this indicates, and again, this applies to everybody. What this shows is you may have been waiting for something to happen. Something's been holding you back. It may be a letter that you've been waiting for, or news from a friend, or news from a long missing person. Okay, and don't read too much into that. This indicates that wait is coming to a close. But remember, communication with the people around you is the key factor. Okay, that's the important factor. Now, with that in mind, okay, we're going to wrap this up. We always keep these short for a lot of reasons. So again, if you like the video, please give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel to make sure you get all of them coming up as they come out. Okay, and absolutely share them with your friends. Okay, or your enemies for that matter. That said, for the time being, until we talk again, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.